Welcome to the award-winning ICOMIA Technical File Generator. I'm going to make an overview of how the software works. It is intended for those looking at the software for the first time. Detailed help videos are also available for those using the software. So let's start by orientating ourselves. On the left-hand side of the page you will see a column of icons. If we click on the expand icon, we can reveal the titles that go with the icons. You can see that many of them have numbers. These are the titles of the different essential requirements of the Recreational Craft Directive. The other sections, which are not numbered, represent administrative pages of the software. You can see that the project icon is highlighted, and so we find ourselves looking at a summary of our project, the Demolition 1000. This page also confirms the size of the boat, less than 12 meters, and the design category, C. It also confirms the conformity assessment module. These were all chosen when we purchased the technical file and can't be changed now. Contact support if you need to make such a change after purchase. What we can change, however, is the description of the project, and we can even drop a logo file here to customize the ultimate technical file to our company. I won't bother doing that now. Let's go to the boat description page. We are now being asked to describe our boat. Firstly, the number of hulls. I'll stick with 1. The source of power. I'll choose motor. Maximum speed, 30 knots. Now you'll notice that we're presented with the different crew limits for category C and D. This is in line with the new Declaration of Conformity template from RCD2, which came into force in January 2017. Category A and B don't appear because we have a category C boat. You can see that I'm being asked some other questions. These might seem random, but every question in TFG relates to RCD in some way. So, for example, if we tick the Enclosed Accommodation checkbox, then the section on escapes becomes mandatory. You can also see a number of tabs on the page. This is a common feature of the TFG. So we have completed the first tab. Let's look at the second, hull size. Here we enter the principal dimensions of the boat. Note that none of these dimensions are variable on the waterplane. The waterplane figures are found on the next tab. Let's skip on to propulsion. Here we choose the engine arrangement and also the fuel grade. Next, we list the regulated systems, which are those that RCD has requirements for. So as we tick each of these, a different section of the TFG becomes applicable. The unregulated systems are those, such as freshwater, that are fitted on board but have nothing to do with RCD. Okay, let's move on. Next we need to define some loads. So I'll throw in some numbers. You can see that tanks can be listed by capacity. As we've already chosen the fuel type, the TFG knows to apply the correct density to find the weight of the fluids. The TFG also knows how to combine the weights, according to the stability standard ISO 12217, to arrive at the prescribed load cases. These are all summarised so that you can see exactly how these are broken down. The next page is the RCD map. This is a key page of the software. Already, we have entered sufficient information for TFG to have decided which sections of RCD apply to our boat, and, more importantly, how we are going to demonstrate compliance with each section. Let's have a look at that. So we have the essential requirements listed down the left, and you can see that TFG has selected the standard that we're using to demonstrate compliance. But as we scroll down, you'll see that there are some entries that are different. Let's look at steering. Yes, TFG has selected the correct standard for our hydraulic steering, but look at emergency steering. TFG is showing that this boat is not required to have emergency steering. But what is more, it says why not? Because it is a twin-screw motor vessel. And more still, it tells you where to find the reference that says twin-screw motor vessels are exempt. This is important, so let's zoom out for a moment. Here's the actual text of RCD. If we go to section 5.4.2, you'll see that RCD requires emergency steering only on motorboats with a single engine. So the point is that if you're asked why your boat is not compliant with a section of RCD or a specific standard, you can find your answer. Okay, so now we are all set to start proving compliance, detail by detail. I'm not going to go through every section in this video. I'm going to jump to the prevention of man overboard section. The reason that I'm going to show this page is that it has both qualitative and quantitative sections. I'm also going to jump to another file, which already has some data entered. So, firstly, note that the standard we are applying is stated in the top left corner of the page. Since all users must have license access to the ISO standards, you can, at any time, cross-reference the standard itself. Since this is our first time, let's do that. So here is the standard itself. If I scroll down to section 5, you will see a list of all the possible regulated features with the clause number of where we will find the detailed requirements. You can see in TFG that there is a tab for each section, except jacklines, which apply only to sailing boats. So you can see A, that TFG filters out the parts we don't need so that we're not wasting any time, and B, presents us with an easily digestible tab for each clause that we need to deal with. So let's choose one, handholds. As you can see, there is not a lot to do here. We are first asked to describe our handholds. If you are not already aware of the requirements, you can click on the question mark and you'll see the requirements of the standard. This tells us where they must be, their minimum height above deck, etc. So now we can write in a meaningful response in detail. If you don't know why we prefer descriptive answers and despise tick lists, you need to watch the short animation called Why You Need a Detailed Technical File. It is very important. But there are also strength requirements for the handholds. No problem, we can have this calculated in just a moment. Enter the material and dimensions, number of fixings, and TFG will compute the result for you. Let's look at one of the new requirements of RCD2. The means of reboarding unaided from the water. TFG asks you to select which of the three possibilities apply to your boat. 1. If you don't need a device, you are asked to explain why and to provide some text for the owner's manual to explain how to reboard. 2. If you have fitted a ladder whose geometry complies with the draft ISO standard, you'll be asked to detail its geometry to prove so. 3. Or if you have another method, you need to upload a video of it in operation. With TFG, you can upload anything you like, videos, photos, drawings, reports and so on, to add further evidence to your file. I could go on and on. Of course, the software does full stability calculations for you. You can upload stability curves for as many load cases as you want. You can investigate each curve and load condition to see if they meet the requirements. Here's what that looks like. For more detail, see the specific video on the stability page. And at the end of the entire process, you can print out a PDF of the technical file and also a declaration of conformity in a multitude of languages. Oh, and it also mocks up your CE plate ready for order. The ICOMIA TFG has been 20 years in the making. It works and it's being used every day. Don't be left behind by the industry. Start your first file today.